Okay, so
yeah,
go ahead.
I was saying I've been like I'm aware of what the issues. I mean, I guess the thing that most people are concerned about is this continuous the increasing difference between the poor and rich, and and where in the end the decisions are made based on just the money and as opposed to what's best for the environment or for really for people or for society. Like the decisions are not really made by people in the end, just to influence by corporations, and that's my understanding of it.
Okay. How about you?
Well, again, I was here with him, and we walked in. We saw the movement here, but I've been following this on the TV as well. And I mean, the way I see the problem is again, the symptom of the problem is you have this widening gap between the rich and the poor.
Okay.
And what I think the basis of that problem is the fact that there's a broken framework in the monetary system. I think one of the problems is the decoupling of resources from money, and the fact that the framework around in the way money is handled, that framework is broken. Things like examples of that framework, such as things like derivatives trading and hedge funds and perhaps missteps by organizations like central banks and so on. A lot of that has led to creating a framework where you have the ability for the very rich or the ones who control a lot of the resources to exploit everyone else, thus reaping a lot of rewards for themselves and relegating the rest of the population to some level of poverty. So I think we have to look at what that monetary framework is and figure out what we need to do to fix it, and how do we get resources back in there as a meaningful measure of monetary worth.
Okay.
Whatever. So I believe that I think you have to base the worth or value of things on the resources behind them, not on some artificial figure.
Okay. That's a very deep analysis.
Very eloquent.
Elaborate. Okay, so what do you suggest the problems are?
Well, I mean, I'm not an economist, and I don't know how to fix it.
Are you running?
I'm not running for anything. No, I'm not an economist. I don't know how to fix this.
Okay.
What I can recognize is the same as watching a football game.
Yeah.
I can't play football.
Yeah.
I can recognize that the losing team is doing something very wrong, but
Okay.
can I coach them? Probably not.
No.
Right?
Okay.
So I recognize that the system has issues.
Okay.
I don't know how to fix it, but I do believe that you have to come up with some way of corralling the rich. You have to have a framework that prevents exploitation. It's okay to be rich. I don't have a problem with rich people.
Yeah.
I don't think one should castigate someone because they're necessarily wealthy.
Yeah.
As long as they achieve that through a system that doesn't destroy that dream for others.
Okay.
I think the story has always been, the things have changed in the way that the rich appear, but I mean, there's always been the nobles and versus, and I think it's just there was a period where you got democracy, so you got to actually tell what you wanted, but then they managed to push that more and more towards to make it a really not effective, right? Because people are not really making decisions. You can vote for politicians, you can say what you want, hoping that person will do what actually will put your message through, but they don't, because they're too much influenced by, again, money and corporate lobbies and corporations. So in the end, the things that you see happening, like decisions of globalizations and stuff like that, are made based on that, not based on what I want, based on what what's best for me or for the society, the way I want to build it. They make the decision. You're just watching. You're happy because you're getting your your cheap shoes made somewhere else, but then you don't realize that they're making a killing, and you are in the end maybe a jobless or see things going down the drain, and it's that's what it is for me. Like the biggest problem is that in the end decisions are made again by the rich, and they are the ones who really influence the way things are run, and not the supposedly the people that the democracy and the people that are voting and it's really taken away from the people in reality.
What is a good system for you?
It's a system where you bring it back.
Let's say
to the real democracy, where you vote and you actually get where you eliminate any sort of form of contributions from corporations, from people that and bring it down to what people really want. You have to have the ability to give the ability to the politicians to actually make decisions better based on the voters and not what the money is getting from whoever.
Okay.
That's one step.
I have a question. Let's say if you go to vote on each and every problem, isn't that a long process? If you try and vote on each and every problem, whatever problem you're gonna have, if you want, just to see how people feel, everybody has to participate, right? And they have to vote on it. Isn't that gonna take a long time to get some, a solution to the problem, whatever problem it is? Let's say it's something small.
I mean, what I just said, for example, I mean, to me, it's been no harm, in making sure that if I think, I'm not about Canada politics in general. I'm thinking about the U.S. more, like where I think it is the fact that the lobbies influence so much what gets done over there. If you get rid of that, that's not difficult. I mean, it's difficult because there's too much interest, right? But it's not really difficult. You just have to pass a law to do it. It's not like it requires, it requires effort because people really have to get out and say, this is what we want, right? And get it done. But that would be one change that I think it can start, making, in time, it can produce bigger changes, right? And it's not, that's one thing to do.
So you think Canada is a whole lot better than US?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know, I'm sure that here also, corporations and money influence a lot, the way things are run in the end, right?
Okay.
But I don't know if it's as bad as it's in the US or, in other countries. I mean, I'm from Italy originally, and
okay.
Things are pretty bad there too, exactly for that reason, because, again, money talks, it's not really...
Okay. And, I mean, you as a Canadian, you didn't vote for the guys, Canadian troops in Afghanistan, right?
I didn't vote, you said?
I mean, you didn't.
No, I didn't, but exactly. All I can do, you see, most people just vote on principle. I have to vote on principle because I can't,
Right.
So if a party represents certain principle, there is closer, right?
Yeah.
To what I think, the way our life should be run, then another party I'll do that. Does that mean that that's gonna be perfect? No, far from it. Because in the end, as I'm saying, if the politician is supposed to have those principles, but then makes all sorts of compromises or whatever, because that's what the politician is, right? To get things done or for their interest, then, still, obviously I'm not happy. Am I going to change and vote for the other side just to spite them? No, because again, I'd rather stick with what I think it's... but there's something wrong in the system, and again, being in Canada for me just already a big change, because again, being from Italy, where nothing gets done for that reason, because you can vote for whatever party you want. It's just every single the system is so broken now that you really cannot affect change in any way. So that's the biggest problem. Democracy, it's a word, it's nice as a word, but then to actually implement it properly, it's it is difficult. I mean, that's the bottom line is just get back to really tell the way they want to run their lives, and give them that ability. I don't think they have it right now.
Do you think democracy creates individual rights?
Democracy creates individual rights.
Yeah, because in democracy, 51% of the population could impose their will on the 49%. Do you agree with that?
Talking about absolute, majority,
Well, but how would you?
Let's say there's 1, 2, 3 people here, you, me, and 2 guys get together and say, you know what, we want to go to the metro. The other guy doesn't want to go, but since we are more,
majority, yeah.
In majority,
Well,
we end up going to
general,
it.
But that's not what I was talking about before, because if that 51%...
That's what's happening though now.
Yeah, but if that 51% actually voted for something and they got what they want, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah.
If that 51% voted for something, they still didn't get it.
That's really bad.
But that's what's happening. That's what I mean. Like the majority still, even if the majority of people, because that's what, if you have the majority of people are poor, majority of people are gonna say, we don't want to be poor. We want things to be better. We want more of this, more of that, and that's what should come through. But if it doesn't, it means that it's not true democracy. Because even you have a majority, even if it's 51%, right?
Yeah.
That should drive what's happening. But if it doesn't, if it's still the 1%, which is the richest, and whether they are really driving what's going on,
well,
then it's not right.
In some cases,
US had a system like that, which is they had a republic. They didn't have a democracy, and US was there to protect even the 1%. One guy could defend himself against. Yeah. Well, it's under that, but it's not really that. That's the difference now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's not how it's open, right? But it is. Yeah, exactly.
That was the concept.
Right.
And I think they're far from the republic that they had before. Okay, go ahead. Yeah. What did you want to say?
Well, going back to your previous question about whether the 51% should affect the 49%.
Yeah.
In some cases, I mean, if a decision has to be made, do we build the bridge or do we not build the bridge?
Yeah.
You have to have a vote on it. At some point you have to accept the majority. You can't build half a bridge, right? It's useless.
But that's what I was saying. Isn't building a bridge a technical process? It has nothing to do with who votes for what. It just has to be done and the right way, and it's the engineers and the
Correct. It's a technical process, but the question of should the bridge be built may not be a technical process, because perhaps we don't need the bridge.
Yeah, we have boats.
I mean, maybe the bridge, when you build the bridge, there's lots of there's things like environmental effects.
Yeah.
There's things such as disruption. Perhaps to build a bridge you have to tear down a 2,000-year-old monument because it's in the wrong place.
Right.
So these are things you put to the vote. Do we value the 2,000-year-old monument more than we value the bridge? So the bridge is a technical process. Should the bridge be built is something that you put to vote.
Okay.
You don't want to vote on the technical,
issues.
Processing, technical issues concerning the bridge. That's just something that is handled by, the guys who know how to build bridges will figure that out. But you need to know whether or not you should build one.
Okay.
So
where would your support be? Let's say this evolves into a bigger movement. Where would your support be?
I mean, it's just because I feel close to the. I mean, I've always been more of if you wish. I don't want to say socialist, but I'm very much for let's build community centers. I want my tax money to be invested in making a better society for everyone. Because I believe that if just the 1% has the money, all you're gonna have is people barricaded in, and afraid that all the other, the poor people are not doing well are gonna get it. And I'm partially from that sort of world. I'm from the south of Italy, and there is some of that. And I know that that's not nice. I'd rather live it, maybe not have a ton of money, but live in a society that's better for me, for my children, where everybody gets along, because that's what it is. If everybody is doing well, I'm doing well. That's the way I see. So I'm always going to support, my support, in that direction. And so definitely. And what I was going to say, that right now I'm in a position where I have a good job, a good paying job, right, where I'm doing fine. I know this is not affecting me at the moment, right?
Yeah.
And there's still a lot of people that are like that. They're not gonna be out here in the square because they listen. They know it's going on, but it's not affecting them directly. They can still buy their milk. They can still buy they have their essentials, and so they're not gonna. So my support, but I support this, and I will. I'm willing to get down. If my help is needed, right? But it's. So that's my position.
How about you?
For me, I see like in terms of this movement, I agree in principle with what there's a problem. We need to fix it and so on. My problem with supporting one part or another is that I find that we're being forced to make binary decisions on things that are not necessarily binary problems. Once you say, okay, I support this, then you know, the media, for instance, paints you as, okay, whatever you say you support, then some of the more radical beliefs that come out, are part of that commitment to support. And I don't support some of the radical statements, right? What I support is, let's fix the monetary system. Obviously what we have doesn't work, we need to fix it. You know, is this movement going to have some radicals that are going to say things that I don't agree with? Sure. On the other side, the people that you know, things, you know, the counter to this movement, you know, the world as it exists today, are they doing things that I don't agree with? Sure. But I think that somewhere in there we can come up with a framework that combines some of what we have today with what we need to do to fix the system. So in general, I support the principles. I wouldn't want to wave a flag saying, yeah, this is my movement, because then I'm roped into whatever radical statements are being made. Right. But I want to say I support the principles, and wherever those principles I see people are making statements about those principles that I feel are reasoned and correct, I support those statements. So I want to support. I need what they call in the U.S. a line item veto. I need to support line items out of this Constitution, not. I don't want to say you have to support it or reject it. I don't want to support it all or reject it all. Yeah. I want to support the reasoned and positive things that, you know, to me sound like ways that we can build the system back. Right. Yeah. Whereas I don't want to be committed to supporting, okay, you know, some guy's going to come up with some sort of statement, and, you know, the media's going to run with that and say, well, this is the statement that represents the whole movement. Exactly. Yeah. And then the whole thing is shot, because now the movement's turned into some sort of radical offshoot. So you really have to keep this to a level where we start making constructive, reasoned statements and start supporting those statements and building a reasoned document that we can actually go to town with and start building something, right?
Do you feel like
because this thing can get out of hand?
Is this anything like that? Because that's what I heard also in the media. This is all getting a lot of attention in all the cities, but is it organized, and does he have like things coming out where exactly line items where you can say, like, you know what, this is really what, or it's more like, you know, there is a feeling that, you know, that things are wrong and you want to change it, but still you're really nobody's sure how.
If you go to the Occupy Wall Street website, I think they have drafted.
Because we need to start building those documents, those you know, a blueprint for fixing, not just talking about it. We need to fix. We need to start coming up with these statements, coming up with some actual, you know, blueprints.
Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. I just want to cut it out now, but.